Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's watches. And this week, like every week, I am doing my best to bring you a really great spread of watches at all different price points and brands and everything you've pretty much come to expect here at Kibble Watches, and that's thanks to you guys and girls. So I really do appreciate all of the support, and we definitely have a varied mix on the table today, so I think you're all going to enjoy it. Now, as always, if you want to skip to a specific watch on the table, let's say you're here just to see the beautiful vintage Whitnall we've got on the table, you can do so via the description. You will see a timestamp for every single watch shown here today, as well as a link that will take you over to the website where you can view all of the details, photos, price, everything like that if it's still available, and you can make the purchase directly through the website, or you can book an appointment, come see it in person, purchase it here in person, or whatever you would like to do. Now, with Christmas quickly approaching, I'm doing my best to squeeze as many watches into each drop as possible. 12 has been what I've said for a while to be the limit. But that being said, as we get closer to Christmas, December time, I might increase the amount in each drop just to get everything out before Christmas, so everyone has the opportunity to buy for Christmas as well. Because obviously we'll be closed over a certain period of Christmas and New Year. I will announce what those will be soon, and they will be on the website as well, where you can view our Christmas opening hours. And I'm going to do my best. I'm not making any promises because it's a bit difficult, running a business on your own and having a family and everything still as well, but I'm going to do my best to squeeze in one Saturday over December where I will be in office, so that way people can come and view watches on a Saturday. Because I know for some of you, getting into the office between Monday and Friday is quite difficult, especially with the open hours, but as I'm sure a lot of you appreciate, this is also my job, so therefore I want to try and have days off with my kids and stuff as well. So before we dive into the watches on the table, what is on wrist, I'm wearing a gorgeous Universal Geneve Unisonic. This is a really, really great piece, a nice vintage watch, a very rare watch as well, with a buzzsaw dial as it's called. This is the red version, there are blue versions, a really great piece. It may be coming for sale soon before Christmas, but for now I'm going to enjoy it. And if you do want to know more details about it, maybe purchase it, let me know on email and I can give you all the details and everything like that. But yeah, that's what's on wrist. Now we've got that out of the way, what is on the table that you're here to see? We're going to start with the Rolex GMT-Master, the discontinued black on black. I can't believe this isn't in the line anymore. It's kind of amazing. But yeah, let's take a closer look at that one. Starting this week off with the Rolex GMT-Master black on black with the green secondhand. Believe it or not, this reference is discontinued and no longer being made. Now, I have said previously, I do think they'll bring this back at the end of the day. It's a classic look, classic design. It does hark back to the vintage models. They made black bezels as well as all the Pepsis and Cokes and things like that. Obviously, Batman's and all that is a more recent thing. But yeah, this is the reference 116710LN. And this one's from April 2011 with its full box, paperwork, spare links, and previous Rolex history twice, which is all included in the additional photos that you can see under points of mention. You feature a black ceramic bezel, a black glossy, beautiful dial with that vibrant green GMT hand and GMT Master 2 stated in green as well. As you'd expect, screw down crown at 3 o'clock and brushed and polished surfaces with the oyster bracelet right here, which folds open like so and does feature a 5mm extension under the clasp. Sorry, I'm mixing up all my words today, but there you go. A 5mm extension that hides away under the clasp, and you can move the clasp up on the inside ever so slightly as well. Now you can see a plain case back with nothing on, as you'd expect. It does have a sticker on, by the way, if you're wondering what that little red mark is. That is a part of the sticker. Inside is the automatic Rolex caliber 3186. Now this watch is in pre-owned condition. There are some scratches and wear as you'd expect, and we can have it polished to look as close to new as possible again for you on request, and it obviously does cost a bit more, and it will also add time to delivery, so do keep that in mind. As I always say though, get a watch and see what you think first before getting it polished, because you might find that the photos make it look worse than what it actually is, or you might find that you compare it against your watches you own yourself and it's actually in better condition. I hear that happen quite a lot. So yeah, don't worry, we can always polish after the fact. We can't unpolish a watch, so keep that in mind. But let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And there we go on my 7-inch wrist. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is one of my favorite maxi case GMTs because it's the least flashy, in my opinion, and the most subtle of the modern Rolex GMT Masters. This is 40mm by 48mm lug to lug, 11.5mm thick and 20mm on the lugs. Endless options, but as always, the bracelet for me looks best on this watch. So go check it out on the website today. From there, let's go over to the Rolex Oyster Perpetual 39mm in white. This is such a great looking watch and I think really ticks a lot of boxes for a lot of people, and the price is still pretty fair, I would say, considering everything on the market, well under £10,000. So let's take a closer look at this one. Now on to the Rolex Oyster Perpetual 39mm in white. That dial is beautifully white, and you have the white on the indices, the stick markers, and white in the hands as well. It works beautifully, and the contrast is very nice with the markers and the hands. And it just makes for a really attractive watch. This watch has been trading very well since it basically came out, because a lot of people gravitate towards the 39 because it's not too big and it's not too small for those people that find 36 a bit too small on the wrist. But it's that perfect mid-size, I think, for a lot of people. Like, I'm very comfortable wearing this, as I know my wife would be with her smaller wrists, and I know people with much larger wrists who would also be completely fine wearing this. So this is the reference 114300. This particular one is from January 2020 with its full box and paperwork, and it's in pretty amazing condition, to be honest. It is unpolished and there are hairline scratches to be seen, but nothing too major. The only sort of mark worth noting is right there on the case. I don't know if you can see that as I'm catching the light. There's a little mark. It looks like a white dot on my screen, but that's a small little mark on the case. Other than that, it's pretty pristine, to be honest. I think you'll be very happy with this overall. It does feature its original Oyster bracelet, which is all brushed, which I think works perfectly with the case and the polished bezel. There's not too much polish on this watch, which is nice. Plain case back, again as you'd expect, and inside the automatic Rolex caliber 3132. Really cannot go wrong with this watch. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And there we go on my 7-inch wrist. Now, as I mentioned, I would be very comfortable wearing this size of watch. I think it works perfectly. It's definitely on the bigger side because it is all dial. There's no bezel or anything like that, really. So it is on the larger side, but it's so comfortable and it looks so good in my opinion. So this is 39mm by 47.5mm lug to lug, 11mm thick and 20mm on the lugs. So you could totally swap it out for a nice strap. But to be honest, I think it works best on the bracelet, as usual with Rolex. So go check it out on the website today. From there, let's go over to something a little bit different with a Carl F. Bucherer. This is a flyback chronograph in green. It's a big 43mm, but it looks absolutely awesome. And I do like the green watch. This has a green canvas strap as well, exhibition case back, and it's a flyback. And it surprisingly is my first Carl F. Bucherer in stock. I've seen many over the years, but this is the first one I've actually had a Kibble watches. So let's take a closer look. So Carl F. Bucherer time with a gorgeous flyback chronograph in green. So what does flyback chronograph mean? If for those of you that don't know, it means you can start the chronograph as normal, but you can fly back. So typically you have to start, as I just did, stop and reset to go back to 0. And then if you wanted to time sync instantly, again, you'd have to press the start button again. What flyback allows you to do is all in one go, by when the chronograph is running, by pushing the reset button, you can actually fly back, and you can hold it in if you wanted to sort of take a time reading. So you'd hold it there, take your time reading, then release, and it'd start going again instantly. So that's what a flyback does. It gives you that ability to do that. Handy little feature if you are actually timing maybe laps or continuous laps of certain things. It does have a real world use. Not that many people use a chronograph anymore, but it's got it all there for you. I won't bore you with the reference to this one. Incredibly long reference, as it seems is the case with all Carl F. Bucherers. As we flip it over, you can see exhibition case back, showcasing a automatic Carl F. Bucherer caliber 1973. So it is built on architecture of other movements, but it is a heavily modified movement by Carl F. Bucherer themselves. You've got this gorgeous green dial with that vibrant red second hand, which contrasts nicely. No lume on the dial, so you've got these dagger indices and these hollowed out sword hands, which is an interesting design choice. I think most people would expect to see lume in there, but I kind of like it. I think it works really well with the design. Nice brushed and polished surfaces, big sign crown at 3 o'clock, and this is a very dark khaki green. It's very hard to capture. In the photos, it doesn't come out as that color, and even now looking at video, it doesn't look that color. But it's a dark khaki green canvas style strap with a leather underside and a deployment buckle, as you can see with the Carl F. Bucherer logo. This watch is from September 2022 with its box and card. It doesn't come with any booklets or anything like that. It's just the very nice box, to be fair, and a warranty card. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. You can see this is by no means a small watch, but to be honest, it actually wears pretty well considering the dimensions. When I first put it on, I didn't think it was as big as it actually is dimension-wise. So this is 43mm by 53mm lug to lug. 14.5mm thick and 22mm on the lugs. So there are endless options, but to be honest, this strap pairing really does work. Again, the colours don't seem to come across as well in the video or on photos, so I do apologise for that. But if you are interested and you're able to, maybe come and book an appointment to see it for yourself. Really great looking piece. But yeah, go check it out on the website today. Now we're going to go over to a really gorgeous Messina Lab. This is the brown dial chronograph. Absolutely gorgeous. Limited to only 99 pieces total. And this one is in like new condition. I don't think it's really been worn, to be honest. It still has the returns will not be accepted if this tag is removed sticker on from Messina Lab themselves. So let's take a closer look at this one. On to a Messina Lab. And these watches have been getting a bit of flack in the collecting community because their designs are based on vintage watches and they are copying them very, very closely. Some people don't like that. It's been an age-old debate in the industry since forever, I think, you know, homage watches and inspired by and heritage piece and all this, that and the other. At the end of the day, as I always say, buy what you like. You're not forced into buying anything. If you don't like a watch, move on, buy something else. That's completely fine. But this is a really, really gorgeous example with that tropical brown style dial, faux patina and faux lume used. Really nice sub-dials. As you can see, it just works beautifully and it looks really, really great. Nice proportions on the case and nice finishing, brushed and polished surfaces, as you'd expect. And stickers still on the plain case back as well, which is nicely spun. Inside is a manually wound Sellita SW510M Elaboré, which is the higher grade than the standard Sellita movements, higher finishing, and also a tighter regulation. Comes on its original strap, which, as I mentioned in the intro, still has the remove if wanting to return sticker on it, and sticker still on the clasp as well. So this watch is pretty much unused. It's like new. It may have been worn once or twice. You may see a hairline scratch here and there, but it's as close to new as you're going to get without buying brand new, which you can't do because they're all sold out. But this one's September 2022 with its box and paperwork. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. Here we go, rested on my 7-inch wrist. It's one good looking watch, really nicely proportioned. And as I think I said in my personal note on the website, even if you wanted a beautiful tropical watch like this, a vintage one, you're going to pay a huge premium for it to be, you know, like this with the tropicalization that happens, because it happens very rarely. So for me, I think this is actually a really nice touch to be able to buy a modern watch that looks vintage, that is tropical, like a vintage could potentially be. So this is 39 by 45.5mm lug to lug, 13mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lugs. So endless options for this one. Go check it out on the website today. From there over to another heritage inspired chronograph. There seems to be a lot of these and they are great. This is the Furlan Mari. This is the Locato Nero chronograph. I probably butchered the pronunciation, but it's part of their initial series of chronographs that Furlan Mari did, and it took the collecting world by storm, and they're still appreciated now, which is great. So let's take a closer look at this one. Now on to Furlan Mari. And as I mentioned in the intro, this is a brand that took the collecting community by absolute storm when it came out with these beautiful cases inspired by Francois Bourgel on early Patek chronograph references with those very true to form original style pushers, even down to the engravings in between the lugs, which is not focusing at the moment, so I do apologize. Everything about it, the curved ends, is just really nicely done. And then you come to the dial and the finishing, again, beautifully done, really, really subtle. And I can see, as can everyone, why this brand just took off on Kickstarter. I was actually one of the buyers on the Kickstarter campaign with the salmon dial version, and I think I bought one when it was at about £30,000 on investment, and it went to well over £1 million on investment, which is just incredible. But anyway, this one, reference 1022-A, inside behind that, really nice screw down case back, again, very reminiscent of the early Francois Bourgel cases, is a Seiko Mecha Quartz, and this one's from 2021 with its box and paperwork. It comes on its original strap with its original buckle, and it also comes with a spare strap as well, which is very nice. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Really beautifully done in terms of size, fit and feel. It's perfect. So this is 37.5mm by 45.5mm lug to lug, only 11mm thick and 20mm on the lugs. So endless options, but to be honest, this black I think just works perfectly on it. So go check this watch out on the website today. From there, let's go with something really fun. This is the Nivada Super Antarctic Keep Frozen, and it's a second collaboration in forest green. This is a really cool piece. And what they do over at Second Second, I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of that, by the way, so I do apologize, but the mind behind it, he is a genius, and he does some really interesting and clever things, and he's been collaborating with a lot of brands recently, and this is a really fun one as well. So let's take a closer look. Now on to this gorgeous Nivada. This is a Super Antarctic reference, nicknamed Keep Frozen. As you can see, the second hand right there is a little Keep Frozen symbol that spins around just as the seconds would tick around. It's very fun, very nicely done, and interestingly the box is actually in like a little frozen freezer bag, so you can actually use that. It's a real thermal freezer bag, I think it's called. So really interesting that you get that as well. The reference to this one I won't bore you with. It's a long reference. You can go see it on the website. But this is a limited edition of 15 pieces for Second. And again, I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of that, and I'm sure many of you follow him on Instagram already. But he does these really interesting designs, very quirky, very clever, very witty, and he's done collaborations with many brands, and this is one of them for Nivada, and I think it's really fun, really nicely done, and it incorporates sort of heritage design with modern technology, but then also this sort of Instagrammability of watches, I guess you could call it that. You have a screw down crown at 3 o'clock. As we flip it over, a sort of iconic Nivada gold medallion style caseback, really nicely done. Inside is an automatic Soprod caliber P024, and it comes paired on its original green Tropic rubber strap with a signed buckle right there. It's from September 2022 with its box and paperwork. So yeah, if you're into this kind of thing, I think it's a hell of a lot of fun, and it's just something quirky, right? Like from afar, no one's going to probably notice it, but it's one of those, you know, if someone has a closer look at your watch, they're going to be like, what on earth is that? That's really cool. And then you've got a story to tell with it as well. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Very nicely done, great proportions, and I love these lugs. So they're like concaved inwards, which is opposite to how most are done. That sort of polished concave is on the outside typically, whereas this is on the inside. Very nice. So this is 38mm by 45mm lug to lug, 11.5mm thick and 20mm on the lug. So endless options if you want to swap out the green rubber strap. It would look good on sort of like a black canvas or black leather, black rubber, black anything really. It would look good. So yeah, go check it out on the website. From that Nivada to an unworn Nivada Chrono King Mecha Quartz limited to 100. This is a really cool piece, very inspired, as you'll see instantly, by the vintage Paul Newman, the Rolex Daytona Paul Newman, but also by Nivada's own collection. And Nivada did use these Paul Newman subdials as well on some of their own watches, as did many brands. So let's take a closer look at this one. So if that previous Nivada was a bit too crazy for you, there's this one right here. This is the Nivada Chrono King limited edition to 100 pieces. Very inspired by early Rolex Paul Newman Daytonas, but also Nivada's own history and heritage. As we mentioned in the intro, those Newman dials, as they're called, with those kind of numbers and the coloration, is something they did themselves as well. So it's a nice homage, but also a homage to themselves, and also still quite a different design. So I think it's very nicely done. Friction fit bezel, as you can see, it rotates both ways. Inside is a Mecha Quartz Seiko VK63, so it sweeps like a mechanical chronograph and flies back when you reset it, but then you have a traditional tick down there at 6 o'clock for the running seconds, and a 24-hour subdial over here, and your minute totalizer of 60 minutes for the chronograph. Nice red highlights as well, signed crown and nice pushers. Nice signed case back as well, and a quick release original strap with its original buckle. This one's from 2023 with its box and paperwork. So let's show on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Now it goes without saying, this sold out pretty much instantly on Nivada, so there is a premium on the secondary market. You be the decider if that's worth it to you or not. At the end of the day, it's a really great design. I think it was priced insanely fair, out the gate at retail, and is still, in my opinion, well worth the price on the secondary market. But yeah, you make the decision for yourself. So this is 38.5mm by 47mm lug to lug, 13mm on the thickness, and 20mm on the lugs with drilled lug holes to make strap changing nice and easy, but this is a quick release strap anyway. So go check it out on the website today. From there, if you missed our previous Doxa Carbon, which was the Aqualung limited edition, you now have the chance to pick up this awesome piece, and this is the Doxa Sub 300 Carbon Professional Orange. It's not a limited edition, and it is a fantastic piece with a cut rubber strap this time. I don't know if you remember, but the other one was uncut and it was humongous, whereas this will fit a 7-inch wrist. So let's take a closer look at this one. On to a Doxa Sub 300, but not just any old Doxa Sub 300. This is a really, really nice orange dial, but the case is carbon, as you can see. And I believe I've said it many times, but for me, carbon on cases is so interesting because the swirls and the patterns are truly unique to each watch, but also they're mesmerizing. Like, they have a slight glisten to them, which I think just looks so, so cool. And it's very hard to capture, but it's the kind of thing, if you see it in person, it just really works. And the contrast with the orange is very Doxa. It looks really, really good. I won't bore you with the reference, super long reference to this one. It's a model they've been making for a couple of years and is still available at retail as well. And the price we got it at is a huge price off retail, so definitely worth considering if you're after one of these. This one's from July 2021 with its box and paperwork. It does compared on its original rubber strap, which has been cut down to fit a 7-inch wrist. So keep that in mind. If you are slightly bigger than 7-inch, there is a dive extension right here, which opens up quite a bit. So it will fit quite a larger wrist than just 7, but that's if you are okay with having your dive extension out. Ideally, you only really want to be using that when you're diving, but the option is there. Alternatively, you can buy a rubber strap from Doxa and have it cut to size for you. So it's nice that you've got the dive extension there for on-the-fly adjustment or truly for diving, because this is a proper rated dive watch. Nice signed case back right there, which is actually titanium black coated to help keep the weight down. And inside is an automatic ETA 2824-2, which is chronometer certified, which is very, very nice. Signed screw down crown right there with the fish logo, which I really like, in orange. Just really nicely done. And as I say, if you're looking for a carbon watch, there's not that many options, especially at an affordable price. So let's show this one on wrist in all dimensions. And here we go. On my 7-inch wrist, the cushion case just wears so nicely. And this is why people love this sort of C case shape, as they call it, or cushion case. It just works, and it works really well. This is 42.5mm by 45mm lug to lug, so nice and compact. Only 13.5mm thick and 19mm at the lugs. A little awkward, but I would recommend going to Doxa and getting their fitted rubbers, because as you can see, they come out and basically attach onto the case as well, which is really, really nice. So go check out this one on the website today. From there over to a Zin. This is the 356 SA Pilot chronograph on the bracelet, a iconic Zin watch, and I would argue instantly recognizable as Zin for those who are in the know. Really great watches at really great price points. So let's take a closer look at this one. Now we're on to the Zin 356 Flieger chronograph. That was a big mouthful right there, which is the 3-dial chronograph, as you can see, with the day date over there at 3 o'clock, which is in German. Very, very nicely done, as you can see. So this is the reference 356.081, and this one's from August 2019 with its box and paperwork and strap changing tool, because these straps are very, the bracelet is very German in design, it's over engineered, and you need basically 2 ratchets to sort of undo the links. It can be a bit tricky, but it can be done. So if you need it sizing, just let me know. I'll do my best to size it before shipping out, or alternatively, if you're in the office viewing the watch and buying it in person, I can size it to you there and then, but it does take a minute or two to do. Keep that in mind. You've got the nice Zin clasp right there, which actually still has a sticker on it. As we open it up, you can see, very nice signed case back as well, which is screw down, and inside is an automatic Sellita SW500. It's a great watch. You know, you've got all the vintage style and feel. In my opinion, this looks like a heritage Flieger chronograph, you know, with all the design and numbers and the syringe hands and the domed crystal. I think it just ties into an older looking watch, which I'm personally a really big fan of. But as always with Zin, you've got this over-engineered nature of everything just being built to a very high standard, which is really nice. Nice screw down crown as well, as you'd expect. But yeah, I think that's really it to say about this watch. It looks great on a leather strap if you want to swap it out from the bracelet, but to be honest, the bracelet is really nice. It has this sort of coating to it, which is more resistant to scratches, but it kind of makes it look like titanium as well. I'm a big fan. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Very comfortable and really nicely proportioned at 38.5mm by 45.5mm lug to lug. 15mm on the thickness, which does sound quite thick, but keep in mind some of that thickness is in that heavily domed crystal. So yeah, keep that in mind. But 20mm on the lugs with drilled lug holes to make strap changing nice and easy. So you can switch and swap for leather, for canvas, for NATO, whatever you choose. But yeah, go check it out on the website today. From there to a brand that just gets the watches right at the right price point. This is a fantastic Nivada Sector GMT Pacific Blue Automatic, and it's £350. I don't usually talk the price in the videos because prices change over time, and it's not always a reflection of the current market if you're watching this 2 years in advance, for example. But this at 350 quid is a no-brainer, a fantastic potential Christmas gift to yourself or someone you know. But yeah, let's take a closer look at this one. To a Nivada Sector GMT Pacific Blue with that really nice blue dial and orange highlights right there with an orange GMT hand. I've said it before and I'll say it again, I'm very impressed with Nivadas and what they're able to do at their price point. I think there's not many brands that are able to achieve this in terms of build quality, design, and also originality. You know, yes, it's a GMT watch, but it's kind of an original design. I think it's really nicely done, and the color scheme is great as well. So even the date placement at 6 o'clock, it's these little things that make it very clear these watches are designed and made by people who actually care. Rather than just another brand trying to pump out watches and make a living off of it, you know. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but again, we see a lot of it. So you can see the reference to this one on the website. As we flip it over, you can see a nicely decorated case back right there, which has this nice symbol. I don't know what they call it, but that I believe is called the Seed of Life, and I actually have it tattooed on me in a few places. It's basically like the perfect pattern that keeps repeating. It's beautiful. But anyway, inside automatic Seiko caliber NH34, which is a nice GMT movement by Seiko, and again at a nice affordable price point. And this one's from January 2023 with its box and paperwork, hardly worn to be honest, and it comes on its original strap with its original buckle as well. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And there we go on my 7-inch wrist, very nicely done. As I mentioned in the start of the video, I think this would be a great gift for someone or for yourself if you want to do that. You go snap it up. So 38mm by 47mm lug to lug, 12.5mm on the thickness, and 20mm on the lug. So endless options for this one, but go check it out on the website today. From there to my favorite watch on the table, and it's probably one of the cheapest watches on the table, most affordable I should say. This is a beautiful 50s Wittnauer dress watch with a fancy case. I absolutely love it. It's even got radiant burn on the dial as well, which is just so cool. I love it when you get stuff like this. So let's take a closer look now on to, as I said in the intro, arguably my favorite watch on the table this week. Is absolutely gorgeous. This is a really beautiful 1950s Wittnauer with a very fancy case, as I've called it, with this sort of engine turned bezel, I guess you'd say, in these very elegant and sort of delicate lugs, these teardrop lugs that come off the case. Really beautifully done, you know, and this is something Wittnauer are kind of famous for, not only making beautiful chronographs and all these other crazy things, but these elegant designs. And this, as you can see, has the 1236 and the radium lume, and same with the hands. And what I find really interesting is that is original dial, and that mark that you see right there on the dial is where the hands were left probably for like 10 years plus, I would say, and it's burnt the dial underneath, which is absolutely fascinating. You know, I've seen this on quite a few watches over the years, but this with the whites is very visible and very nice. So if you were to put the hands in that position, let me show you. If I pull out the crown and go to set the hands in that position, it would have been like that. So the hands would have been there for many years to have burnt the dial like that. These little details you get on vintage watches that you just won't get on modern watches. The reference to this one is 2605. As we flip it over, you can see a nice screw down case back, and inside is a manually wound Wittnauer caliber 11 ESB. And as I said, this one's circa 1950s. Of course, it doesn't come with any box or paperwork, and it comes on a nice brown, or at least what I think is nice, a brown suede strap, which I think suits the watch perfectly. Don't be put off by the size of this one at 32mm. It packs a punch and it is super charming. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. As you can see, I think that looks really nice. Yes, it's a small watch, but it looks like an old vintage watch in the best of ways, in my opinion. Let me know down in the comments what you think of watches this size. So this is 32mm by 38mm lug to lug, only 10mm thick and 18mm on the lugs, which does help with wearability, because if it was 16 it would be a little bit on the smaller side, but that 18 just helps make it wear that bit bigger. So go check it out on the website today. And last but by no means least, a watch that's going to be perfect for a lady out there or for a gent if you want this style and you like the smaller cases. This is a D1 Milano ultra thin rose gold quartz in 34mm with the integrated bracelet. A good looking watch at well under £200. Now, something that would make a great Christmas gift in my opinion for a lovely lady out there, or as I say, a gent who wants this kind of design in the smaller case size. It would work perfectly well for anyone. So this is the D1 Milano ultra thin rose gold quartz, reference UTBL09, and it's from August 2021 with its box paperwork and spare links. It's got a really nice tapering bracelet down to its D1 Milano deployment clasp, which opens up as such, and a nice signed screw down case back with a quartz movement inside. Very simply done. Condition is good. There are some marks where you can see the gold plating is starting to sort of, I guess you'd call it tarnish. It looks like gold burn to me. You know, when you get a solid gold watch in it, you leave it for like 30 years, it has this burn effect. That's kind of what it looks like. It's very subtle, nothing too noticeable, so I wouldn't worry too much. Really nice hexagonal crown with a black stone inside. Nicely done. And I'd say D1 Milano at the price point they are, I think they're producing really nice fashion styled watches, I guess you'd say, that actually just look nice and are built very nicely as well. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. So here we go on my 7-inch wrist. This is a size I would be very comfortable wearing. I think most guys would be as well, so don't shy away from the 34mm, especially if you like the rose gold and everything else. So 34mm by 40.5mm lug to lug, only 6.5mm thick, so incredibly thin, sits very low on the wrist, and 21mm at the lugs, tapering down towards the clasp. So go check out this one on the website today. So there you have it, guys and girls. This week's drop really is something for everyone at all kinds of price points as always, and next week is looking just as amazing with a really incredible mix of things, from a white gold Frank Muller, believe it or not, to Glasuta, to Breitling, to Cartier, to Omega, to Cyma. There really is something for everyone again in next week. I'm getting very excited on the lead up to Christmas because it seems like I'm getting even better stock in and even more variety, which is a lot of fun. You know, being a collector myself, it makes it very difficult because I kind of want to keep everything, but obviously I have a business to run and a family to support, so I can't buy everything. So I'll leave it to you guys to do the buying. But yeah, go check them out on the website today. We'll see you all again next week. Take care.